welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there, and today we're heading back to the Malevolence trilogy for the final piece of the Malevolence trilogy. But before we get into this one, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, as always, a shameless plug for my TeePublic store. I'm going to leave a link for that in the description box below if you choose to check it out. And today, yes, we're talking about the third and final film in the trilogy, and this one is called Malevolence 3 Killer. This one came out October 22nd of 2018 or 2019. The dates, I'm sure it was shown at festivals in October of 2018, and then got a small theatrical release by Anchor Bay once again in 2019. It's rated R. It's an hour and 29 minutes long. This was written, produced, scored, and directed by Stephen Mena, once again capping off his trilogy. In this film, we got Katie Gibson playing Ellie. She ends up being our final girl in this movie. Victoria Mena plays Victoria. She's this little girl that lives next door to where Ellie is staying with a bunch of her college friends. Kevin McKelvey plays Special Agent Perkins. He's back from the first film. Adrienne Barbeau makes an appearance here as Meredith Bristol, Martin's grandmother. And Jay Cohn is back as Martin Bristol yet again. This is a direct sequel to the first Malevolence film, considering Bereavement was the prequel. And we pick up with a recap at the end of the first Malevolence film. We don't see the mother and daughter get killed or that stinger at the end, but we see right up until Martin gets away when the cops show up at that farmhouse. And then we start right at the beginning, right after that. We continue that night where Martin makes his way to this storage facility right across from this gas station, which was shot in my hometown of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. This was all shot in the Allentown area, but they made their way up to Tamaqua for a little bit of shooting. He kills this guy, takes his van, and he's on his way back to his childhood home. And that's where Ellie comes in. She's living there with a bunch of friends that they all go to the Penn State Lehigh Valley campus where they must have shot, because you could see it in the film. I'm very familiar with this area. And he basically kills the landlord, and he kills a bunch of people. There's a lot of killing in this movie. And this movie does throw the blood around, and there's some really cool gore moments that are pretty well done, considering this was a low-budget production, although I couldn't nail down how much they had of a budget, but I know it was considerably less than Bereavement, I think even less than Malevolence, the first film. So basically it all culminates in Victoria lives next door. Her mom gets killed by Martin earlier in the day. She comes home from school. Her mom's not there, and she gets worried, so she goes over and gets Ellie, and Ellie kind of takes care of her until her father can get home. And pretty much Ellie, Victoria, and her father are the only three that survive this night. Martin gets shot by Special Agent Perkins, but still gets away at the end, and that's the end of Malevolence 3 Killer. So what to like about this film? Well, I think the acting's pretty good. We don't have as big a name cast as we did for Bereavement, but it's nice to see Adrienne Barbeau in a small role. She's only on screen for maybe 5 minutes total, but you know, it's Adrienne Barbeau, and it's cool to see her here. I think Katie Gibson's pretty good as Ellie, as the final girl, and even Victoria Mena for a little girl. I don't know how old she is, maybe 10, 11 here. She does well with what she's given to do. Kevin McKelvey, the whole cast, I think, does what they need to do, considering this isn't Bereavement where we had Michael Biehn, Alexander Daddario, or even that other actor that I'm blanking on his name, that played the Sutton character. Here, they're all basically unknowns, except for Adrienne Barbeau. But I think they do what they need to do. There's a lot of blood thrown around here. It's not, in terms of the killing, it's not overly gory. This is not Terrifier. Obviously, this is rated R, so it doesn't get that crazy, but there is blood here. I think it's definitely gorier than the first film. And I appreciate that. This is more, the second movie was more of a character study of seeing Martin become what he's going to become that he was in the first film. This one is more of a meat and potatoes slasher. This is like Halloween 2 to the original Halloween, where the gore factor's upped. Everything's up. The body count's upped, and I think that's what Stephen Mena did here. He just upped it. It's more of a meat and potatoes slasher film. We got all the pretenses out of the way, the build-up, the characters' moments. We know what Martin is, and now this pays off in a full meat and potatoes slasher film. That's what this is. It's pretty fast-paced, an hour, 29 minutes long. So I think it works pretty well. I really like the score. Stephen Mena did the score once again, and it's very John Carpenter-esque, very Halloween-esque. And I'm here for it. I think it works really well. I think he's able to create some really cool mood, and there is some really beautiful shots in the film, especially of landscape shots and whatnot. So what didn't I like about this film? Well, this was shot on digital, and I'm sure it was a budget decision why he decided to shoot on digital. and you can tell. It doesn't have that filmic look. Digital can look really good. You know, Fincher does a good job with it and some other folks, but I prefer film. It looks better. This is not the best looking film out of the 3 movies. It's not a raging dumpster fire, don't get me wrong. It's just you can tell he didn't shoot on film. I think towards the end of the film, some characters that are pretty smart earlier on, namely Ellie, do make a few dumbass decisions towards the end of the film. Now, this is a slasher film. I love slasher films, and in every slasher film, pretty much ever, even the Scream movies, which makes people more smarter than usual, everybody does something stupid to further the plot or to get themselves into a chase or to create a suspenseful moment. So some of those things can be forgiven. At the end of the day, I think this is another solid entry into this trilogy, and I actually kind of like this a little bit more than Bereavement. I don't think it's as well made, only because of the digital aspect of it, and obviously it didn't have as much money as Bereavement had. But I just like the meat and potato slasher aspect of it. To just, you know, we got everything out of the way, and now Martin could just go nuts and just kill a bunch of people. And I like Ellie as a final girl. I think she's good, and I think the actress does a good job. And I didn't want her to die, so that's always a plus here in a slasher movie. You want to hope to like the final girl. So I do like Ellie, and I think at the end of the movie, I guess maybe he was planning on doing a 4th film, which never materialized. I mean, not since 2018. There has been no word that there's going to be a 4th film. Martin survived, so they could make one eventually, but if this is the last one, which it probably is, I would guess, I think this is a pretty solid slasher film. So at the end of the day, I would give Malevolence 3 Killer an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for Malevolence 3 Killer. Have you ever seen this movie? Leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. That's it for this trilogy, and we're going to go on to some more horror films. But until next time, bye.